Recording is in progress, so there we go. And Steve's going to take the lead here. And Steve, you want to start out with your moment of silence for?
Yes, please do. Because of I'm not really trying to fill Jay's shoes, but Jay really did a good job with this, and we miss him terribly. So I would like to have kind of a moment of silence for Jay. And as well, with this being 911, I'd also like to include the people that were lost and involved in that, first responders and such. So we'll just take a couple minutes and have some silence. Okay, thank you. This morning, first of all, I want, my disclaimer is I don't see myself as a great speaker. I'll do the best I can, and I'm hoping that you can glean some information from me that you don't already know. We will see. I want this to be a true discussion group. I would like people to raise their hand if they got something they want to chime in. There's always 2 or 3 different ways to do something on the computer, and maybe you do something differently, and it would help to know that. To start off with, I want to start with some tips and tricks on your camera. And of course, the first thing I normally do is I use live view. And people should know kind of like when to use live view and how to use it. When I first started using it, I was traveling down the road and there was an eclipse that was starting, and I was almost up to Charlevoix. And my wife saw the eclipse and I said, "Wow, pull over." And we got out, and I'm like, "Well, you're not supposed to look at that with your naked eye." So I said, "There's a way to use live view." And I got my book out and I quickly learned how to turn it on, and I started playing with it while I was taking pictures. So live view, let's see if I can share my screen here. Whiteboard, oh no, or did I? I lost it evidently, and when I jumped off the screen for a while. All right, well, we'll pass on that. Live view, if you look on the back of your camera, it shows like a white image of a camera with a black screen. And that's how you turn it on. You either have a switch that you turn or a button you push. Some cameras aren't as advanced and you have to go into a menu and turn it on. Once you have it turned on, you can see everything that you're doing. And you're not looking directly at the sun with it. So in times when you could hurt your eyes, you should use it. I like to use it all the time almost. You can't use it with moving subjects or if you're hand holding the camera, because you shake too much. And when you're trying to follow a subject, if you're using, at least I do, when you use the monitor on the back, you keep looking at what your subject is. And if you're trying to follow it, you can't stay on the subject very well. So, but if you look at the back, you can see the color balance. So when you adjust your color balance, you can get your color balance right from that. And you can see exposure brightness. You can see your focus, and you can see your depth of field when you push your depth of field preview button. And in focus, there's a magnification button on the back of my camera. And I know a lot of the more advanced ones have that. You can enlarge the image so that when you focus, you can make sure you get a really sharp focus, and then reduce it back down to the normal size Mine will even shoot while it's magnified. And then it goes back automatically to the less magnified image. So I think people will find that that's really useful. The thing you have to remember is when you're shooting pictures of the sun, you're using that to protect your eyes. It can also burn your sensor in your camera. So I like to use it to get everything all set up, and then I can turn it off. It's all set up and just start shooting pictures without changing anything. If you click on info, you can also set up what info you see, like the histogram, or it'll give you your technique down at the bottom. You can see that. So all that information that you normally could see in your eyepiece, except I don't remember ever seeing the histogram in my eyepiece. So you can see your histogram and make your adjustments according to your histogram while you're using live view. So does that help anybody with anything on that? Any questions?
Steve, is there a difference between what you see in your eyepiece versus your viewfinder versus what you see in live view? It seems I've read that one of them shows you truly what you're going to shoot and the other one doesn't. That's not a very clear question, but.
No, that's true. That's true. When you look in your eyepiece and you make adjustments like to color balance and your depth of field, your f-stop, so you get a different depth of field. And well, you can see your depth of field when you push your depth of field preview button in both places, but you can't see the color balance change. You can't see the brightness change in your eyepiece, but on the live view you can. So, you know, if you're questioning whether or not it's going to be too dark, in your live view, you can see how dark it's going to be, and you can make adjustments for that. Yeah, go ahead.
The mirrorless camera is basically live view all the time.
All the time.
Everything's live.
Oh.
It's got a screen on the back, but also the view screen in here is the same as this. It's another TV screen essentially that you're looking at all the time. So it's live view is on 100% of the time.
Did you say that's a mirrorless?
Yes.
That's a feature of a mirrorless camera?
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the way it works. In a reflex camera like Steve's talking about, there's a mirror in there, and basically a 45-degree angle. And when you press the button, it flips up out of the way, and the sensor is back here. And that's what you see. When you turn it to live view, I think what it does is it flips the mirror up and turns the sensor on so that you're seeing what on the screen on the back. When you take the picture, the information is recorded from the sensor. If you're shooting raw, it just zeros and ones. And what you see on the screen is actually a JPEG of that information. So it's been processed somehow between the recording on the card and the screen. So there is a little bit of difference depending on what your camera's set on, but the raw can be different than that.
So the raw,
That's why sometimes you take the picture and said, well, that doesn't, when you get it on the computer, that's why it doesn't look like what I saw on the camera. That's why. Is your computer is processing differently than the camera and displaying.
that's true. However, with live view, your pictures are closer to what your raw is than if you're using your eyepiece.
Yeah,
Okay.
depending on camera settings, yeah.
Yeah. One of the times it's hard to use live view is at night because it's so dark you can't see anything in the back. So sometimes you can break its way up, like change your ISO to 3200 or something, and then you maybe can see something. And then you can make some adjustments and then turn it back down, like your focus, for instance. That's one thing that you can do. And I like if I'm out doing northern lights, I'll focus on a light way, way off in the distance. And that's how I do it. I just turn the brightness up and focus on that light, and then I turn it back down where it's supposed to be.
You do
That way I know
Northern
the
Lights.
focus.
You do the Northern Lights with live view?
Yeah,
Oh. Wow.
yeah. You
Okay.
can't see them. But when you take the picture and it pops up back there and everything, and you kind of get an idea where you're positioned according to that light you were focusing on and where you're positioning it.
Oh.
Remember that little tiny light that's off in the distance? And I just tried to get that pinpoint on that.
Okay.
And that's because I use manual focus. Okay.
Right.
If you use autofocus, I feel you get a much sharper image with manual focus than you do with autofocus. I've used autofocus a lot, and I've used autofocus and then went to live view and made some adjustments, and I just feel I get a sharper image.
Okay.
Particularly when you zoom in, well, you can really get it right.
Yeah, when you do that enlargement. So yeah. So any other questions on that? Or if you go to Google and you zoom live view and how to use it, you can pick out, a lot of times there's one there for your camera that you can pick out, and it'll tell you how to use it and what to do. I had one up there I was going to share with you on share screen, but when I click share screen, it's not there at the moment. So I don't know what happened to it. Let's see, that's just a whiteboard. So yeah, it's not there. In fact, I lost my other one too. So hang on a second here, see if I can bring it back up. Oh yeah, all right.
Mary, since Steve came back, do you need to give him presenter access?
Is that the problem was why I lost everything?
Hang on a minute, let me see what I've done here. I've got it on all participants can share.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see at the top where it says what the link is. It says Shutter Muse, and it's got a glossary and live view. It says.
Oh, Shutter View.
Shutter Muse, that's a website then, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it'll talk about live view, and there's that little white camera with the black monitor I was telling you about.
Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah.
it kind of shows on the back of this camera some of the things that you can put on there to see what you're doing and know how you're making your adjustments. But this is a good video. I went to it and checked it out, and I went, oh yeah, that everybody should see that. So does that help anybody, or I hope?
Yeah, that's great.
Well, it helps me because I've got an Olympus, and which nobody else in the world has apparently, but I don't think mine's working correctly. It used to work it used to work what I think is correctly, but that's a different story. So it's just hard to sometimes it's hard for me to see that, so then I have to put on my reading glasses to get a good look at what's going on in that screen. But and that's why I almost always prefer to look through the viewfinder. But I understand what you're saying, and I'll read this. I'll go to this link and take a good look at it. That's good information. A lot of the things that people run across sharing the websites that you think are good information, particularly those of you that are very experienced, is useful for the rest of us, so. Thank you.
Okay. So let's try to get started here on the Lightroom. How many people, let me go back here a minute. How many people have not used Live View?
I haven't really.
Yeah, I haven't either. Amy's using it. How much have you been using it, Amy? Because I know you had a lot of problems getting started.
With Live View?
Yes, ma'am.
Lightroom.
Oh,
Lightroom.
Lightroom. Oh. You know what? I haven't been using it for a couple of years now because mine was too old for my new computer.
Okay.
So I ended up putting it on my old computer and I haven't used it.
Okay.
So I need to get back into that.
What do you use, Amy?
I use my my computer is an Asus. And I use the editing that's in there.
Oh, okay.
And
Sometimes,
so mine is on JPEG. It doesn't, I can't do RAW on there, but I shoot RAW and JPEG.
so when you want to alter your raw, do you go somewhere else? Use some,
Yes, and I do have Photoshop Element, but and I think that might work on this computer, but honestly, I haven't tried it yet. Stephen, do you use Element?
No, I use Photoshop 6.
Okay.
Gary Stutzman uses Elements.
Yes, and you know what? He did a program on that, I think a couple of years ago, and I was out of town. It was probably the only one I missed.
Okay, Amy, with your Elements, Lightroom is compatible with Elements. So
Oh,
when you have Elements on there with Lightroom and you import your images into Lightroom, and then you want to say you've done some editing in Lightroom and you want to do something in Elements, you can right click on the image you're working on. And in that menu that comes up, there's a place where you can send it into Elements and do your adjustments and then come back.
oh,
Okay?
cool.
So that's one of the things I hope to get get learning here today. So I had Terry on here on the phone yesterday, and I was telling him I can't get these pictures out of Lightroom, and he was telling me they're probably good. You probably don't need to do anything. So these were some that I just kind of, as soon as I got the file up and running, a Lightroom up and running, I decided to try some editing, see what happens. And so these are some I imported. Actually, I imported the flower and the butterfly.
Steve,
And-
you're still on your other screen. I think you have
Live
to.
view.
Oh, I am?
Live
Because I'm
view,
looking,
yeah.
okay. Hang on, let's see what I can do here. Let's see, if I go back to share
Go back to share.
and
Think you may have to turn share off and then come back.
oh, okay. So I got rid of that right now, okay?
And reshare your screen now.
And then share again. Is that better?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the butterfly and the flower, I imported into Lightroom. The bubble one, when I first launched Lightroom, it came up with that one. It searched and brought that one up. So it needed some editing, so I did some editing on it. And if you are looking at that monitor or that picture, let's see here. How did I do that?
Did you just click on it?
Yeah, let me go back. I cover it with my pictures of people. I covered up my,
Yeah, he
Oh, my
cancels
God.
it.
so. What I was trying to find is there's a history on this picture. And that's what I was looking for.
And develop maybe?
You're right, exactly right.
Oh my God.
That's why we want this as a discussion group. Okay, over here on history, you can see all the things that I did playing with this image to, and as I run my cursor through it, you can see the image changing according to everything that I did. See, I was out of level, so I leveled it.
Oh, yeah.
The color balance changed. And I was playing with different colors on it to see what it did. Did you see the white area over here on the left? I removed that. And then I brought it back, and then I did a lot of playing with it. Okay. So this keeps a history of everything that you did to your images. And so you can go back and see what you've done.
Can you click on that and reclaim that specific setting that you did? Or that specific adjustment, if that's the right word?
Well, let's see there was one I did.
Do one with the colors, and then we'll really get the sense of it.
All right, let's go back and find that. Where'd it go? Maybe if I can find it.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, well, let's go back here. There's the one with the balance, with the leveling. Crop angle, I think it's called.
Yep.
Yeah, so if I click on it,
So it brought back up the, whatever that particular change was.
yeah. So it didn't bring it up on the monitor though, did it?
No,
Oh, there it
well,
is.
there it is.
There it is. So there you can see it changing now.
Yeah.
On the big part.
How'd you get it up there? Do you know?
I just clicked on the center screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I ask
So
a,
to get those in though, well, let's go back here. Uh-oh, somebody joined us. Well. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, down here, I clicked, I wanted them arranged by file name. So that's what I did with that. So when you import, you click on import, and then over on the side is your different drives. For instance, this one here is the drives on my computer, okay? So this is all the stuff on my computer. And if I go to pictures, there's a little arrow on the left, click the arrow, and it closes it all up. And then when I go back to pictures, which I just lost it.
Down, down, down. One more. There you go.
You're better than mine. All right, so there's where it opens up for the pictures. And this here is where I've saved pictures. So these are different ones that I've saved on my hard drive on my computer. And you notice they're checked.
Yeah.
So I can bring these into Lightroom so the Lightroom knows where they are. Because they're checked, all I have to do is click add up here at the top. So add is highlighted. And then over here on the right, just say import. And so then now, when I do that, the computer knows, or the program, Lightroom, knows exactly where they are and how to find it. I'm not gonna do that with this group yet, though. So if I go back up here and close that out, then here's my other hard drive, my Lacey. And that's the one I usually put my pictures on, and I keep them on here. So there's all the pictures that are on my Lacey. And I put a test file in here. I'm sure it's under T. Oh no, it's under P for practice. Right there. So there's a practice file I want to do. So before I upload that or import it, what I've discovered is if I tried to uncheck one, well, now it's doing it. Last night it wouldn't do it. If I uncheck one, I can upload all of them with that one. Okay. Or I can just uncheck them all and just check one of them to upload. So I don't have to do them all, or I can just check them all and upload them all. And since this is a test file, I'm going to upload all of them. So over here, I just click import, and I have already at the top, I have add. If I do DNG, it's kind of redundant. I don't need to do that. They're already DNGs. I can do copy, but that'll make another set of this, and I don't need another set. I only need one, so I don't need to use up any more space on my computer. Or I can just move them, and if I move them, I have to come over here and tell them where I want to move them to. So I would pick other destinations, and then I can choose where I want on this file.
You
So-
check other destinations. That's not Lightroom then.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
it is Lightroom. It is
There-
Lightroom.
They're not in Lightroom now. They're on your computer. I just want to see if I'm understanding.
Correct. Right
then-
now,
and then-
they're
And when you check move, are you moving them in Lightroom, or are you moving them on your computer, on your hard drive?
I'm not moving anything yet.
But if you check move, you physically move the file
To where?
to
Wherever
wherever
I
you tell
want.
it to go.
Wherever I tell it. So if I click my Lacey hard drive, I can say my pictures and select a folder and move it into another folder.
Okay.
Okay. I really don't want to do that either. So what I would just normally do is click add. And so what that'll happen is it'll be in Lightroom. Lightroom will start saving information as to where that image is. And I can always bring that up, and everything that I did to it will be with it. So for now, let's bring all these into Lightroom, and I'll just click on import over here on the right.
Steve,
Yes.
one thing to make sure you do is on the right-hand side in those, where you've got your cursor, if you open some of those up, there's one that says do not duplicate or something like that.
Oh,
So
yes, I saw that.
if there's a copy already recorded in your catalog, it won't duplicate it. And that's kind of important, because it's very easy to say, put this in the catalog, and if there's already a copy there, it'll duplicate it again.
That's correct. So you always want this one checked. Unless there's, for some reason, you do want to duplicate it, but
Yeah.
and you can click on this, and you can tell it to make smart previews as well. Down here, you can add keywords to it before you import it, so that you can use the keywords to locate your images. You can make adjustments to your data on your metadata. So you can, if you click on that, it should bring up here a place where you can add your copyright and information about your pictures. And normally, if you're downloading from your camera, most of your pictures are all going to be the same, and you can give it a name like beach cleanup or something of that sort. And you can rate it as to how many stars, or go down a little farther. You can put down your copyright and who the creator is. And there's a lot of stuff in here that you can add to your images that go into the sidecar that keeps track of your metadata and such.
That adds for every picture, right? If you change something on that, are you changing it for all the checked images?
Yes, as I import. So if I wanted something different for each one, I could import each one separately. And then I can do that.
Once you import all those, bear with me, once you import all of those, can you then within Lightroom go back to each file and put in a keyword like sunset or boats or flowers?
Yes,
Separate, you can do it either way, on the way in or once it's in there. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I think one of the best things to do though is like I create a preset that has my name and all that copyright information that I have applied to all the images, because that's something you want on all of your images. So when you're importing it, it automatically puts all that in there. And by having it a preset, you can do all that.
Mhm.
And then after you get the images imported, then I go back and look at individual images, and if different keywords, then you put those on. But don't try to apply all that stuff at one time to everything.
Okay.
So when you click down here at the bottom, see it says edit presets. That's presets Terry was talking about. So, you know, you can click on this and put what you want in there, and it'll do whatever you want to add into it. And so
Does-
like
does-
Terry, you can leave out things that you can put in later.
Doesn't this, is your metadata different than what you're adding here? Because I thought, I was under the impression somewhere along the line that Lightroom reads the metadata, like what lens you used and what setting you used and what camera
The
you
camera
used.
put all that on.
Pardon
And
me?
the camera adds all that information
Yes.
to the file. When you import it, it comes with it.
So you don't necessarily have to put all that
No.
granularity in there.
Correct.
Okay.
But you see like this picture of this flower, if I highlight it, whoop, go back. I didn't want to make it big like that. All right, so if I highlight it, if you look up here, it's got text, attributes, metadata, and none. If you click on the metadata, all that information you were just talking about comes up. There's the camera, there's the lens and where it was set. Okay. Now, the problem I have right now, and maybe Terry can help me with that, is this file, like when I'm working on an image, there's a place to put in your camera information. I say camera information, that's not correct. Each camera has different things that show up in an image, and you can set maybe I should just go to that in the, let's go back to none.
If you go back to develop
Yeah.
and then scroll down, there's,
Yeah, I gotta move your,
sorry, I gotta have my glasses on here. Lens correction.
I
Yep,
think
you were,
camera calibration, isn't it?
oh, yep, no.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to show. See
Oh,
the
okay.
date here on this one? And I can't go any higher than 2012 on this Lightroom program.
That's the format of the JPEGs and all that stuff. If you go into the lens correction section and go to profile, there's the basic up underneath lens correction. There's those 4 settings. Yep, right there, profile. Click on enable profile. Now it's showing you based on the make of the lens, the type of lens it is, it's going to make whatever corrections are in the profile for that lens.
For the lens.
Yep.
But for the camera calibration, I can't do anything with mine because I believe my camera is newer than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I was.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I needed to show that. So thank you. Let's go back here and there we go. I've got your picture in the middle over here so I can. So where were we? All right, so here's where, Mary, if we've got these pictures in here, if I highlight one of them, you can go over here on the right and you can add your keywords to that image only, okay? And I put insect, monarch, butterfly on. So, and you can just add whatever you want. Just click on it and then just type something in. You type bugs.
So if you wanted to do a search, can you do a search in Lightroom and say can you do a search and say monarch butterfly? And it'll bring up everything with monarch.
I believe that.
Yes.
If
As
you
long as
put
it-
the tag in it,
It's like a tag, right?
right?
So you could pull up insects or bugs or monarch butterfly, and you would get a variation on whatever else is identified with those tags, right? Is that correct?
It would pull up all the photos with butterfly attached to it.
Okay.
But,
So where,
but that's if you've already tagged it or made it a title. You have to do that first.
Keyword.
Keyword.
and
Okay.
you can do that when you import it, after it's imported. See, these 3 pictures have been imported. And so this one's highlighted, so I can over here on the right, I can add those keywords. So like bug can be added in there as well.
I've got a pretty fundamental question. I know that, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems now that you can have Lightroom Classic or Lightroom Creative Cloud, and Creative Cloud saves everything into the cloud someplace. And Classic is what you actually can, you have information actually on your hard drive and you're doing your changes on your computer. You wouldn't have to necessarily be on the internet in order to work on your pictures. Having said all that, and both of those are monthly subscription services, is that correct?
That's what I understand. Is that what you understand, Gary?
You're breaking up there, Steve. I didn't catch that.
That's what I understand, is that it's a monthly prescription service to use the cloud.
So going back to the fact you've got a disk in there, and if I had an old Lightroom disk and I'm not doing Lightroom very frequently, let's say, would it be better just to use an old disk rather than, if I can get one, use an old disk rather than sign up for the monthly fee and all the updates. I understand what you're getting when you sign up for a monthly, but does anybody have an opinion on that?
If you can find an old copy, that's the problem.
If I can find a what?
If you can find an old copy.
Oh, okay.
You
Jerry,
know, I
Jerry was
think,
kind enough to loan me his.
yeah, I think you can go to Lightroom and talk to someone in service. That's what I had to do because I couldn't find my disc to save my life. I put it in a safe place and I have
And
no
it's still
idea.
there.
It's still safe.
I have no idea where that is. And I've looked
Try
for,
moving, it'll show up.
yeah, I've looked and looked and looked. Anyway, so I went to Lightroom and I explained to them that I had a disc and I wanted to, get that, get that back. And I just explained to them that I couldn't find it. You can, so if you want to get a disc versus pay for the monthly, go right to Lightroom and talk to someone in service. And they might be able to help you with that because they did help me with that.
Okay.
And she emailed me a copy of what I had. I think they had to look it up because I registered it. And so they knew that I did have it.
Yeah, I've never had one, but I do have a friend who uses Lightroom and, I'm going to check with him to see if he's now on the monthly or if he's still using his discs.
There you go.
Because I don't know, I don't know if I don't know how far up Lightroom went, like Lightroom 6 or Lightroom 7 or,
I think it's 6.
6.
I think it went to 6. And then that's why that wouldn't work on my newer computer. I had to put it on an old computer.
Gotcha.
So, because I didn't want to do the monthly. I just
Yeah.
didn't want to do that right now.
Yeah, I don't either. I'd
Yeah.
like to learn and see if I like doing this before
Yeah.
I invest, in
Yeah.
a monthly fee.
Okay.
So one thing about the monthly fee is you can sign up for 1 month, or I think there's actually a 30-day trial on it. So you've got 30 days you can play with it. Or you can use, I've got some friends that don't do a lot of photography, but they do some. So what they do is they stop the monthly subscription when they're not using it, and then they restart it. So you could do, like if you're doing something, you could do 1 month and it's like $30 a month, I think it is, or $20, I forget what it is. But you can pay for 1 month, stop that if you're done with it for a while, and then start it up again 3 months later. So you're not paying every single time that you're not paying every month. You're not paying for 12 months. You're
Okay.
paying for the 2 months that you're using it. The one thing that I'll say though is Lightroom is one of the big benefits that I find of Lightroom over Photoshop is it's a very good tool to manage your photos, and it stores any changes that you have. It's a non-destructive system, so it doesn't save it in the file itself unless you're doing a DNG or you're saving it off as a separate JPEG. So trying to use Lightroom and another tool can be problematic because you should always, if you're going to use Lightroom, I would recommend using Lightroom only and then going out to other applications, Photoshop or whatever other application you want through Lightroom, because that way Lightroom knows the changes that you're doing. It's a little different than like using when you're creating a Word document or a document file. Everything's stored in there. With Lightroom, you've got the idea of a catalog which actually stores the changes that you've done. So when Steve was showing the history, that was, the history is in the Lightroom catalog saying, do all of these things. It's not storing it necessarily in the file itself. So if you go onto your JPEG and open it up in another application, Lightroom's not going to know anything about those changes unless you do it through Lightroom. So you need to be careful if you're mixing and matching tools.
So it's good information. How do you go out from Lightroom into another program?
If you right click, let's do this one. If you right click on the image, you get this menu, and then you can say
Edit in.
You
Well,
gotta go to
in,
develop
and
module.
then you go over to the right and you pick, like I have Photoshop CS6, so I can pick that and it'll automatically open CS6 and put the picture in there where I can make the adjustments.
So does it know what you have on your computer?
Yes.
Yes.
For example, I have, as I said, I have an Olympus camera and it comes with some kind of editing software, which of course I've not used either. But so if I right clicked on that, it would know that there was that Olympus program in here. Am I catching it? Am I getting the idea?
You're getting the idea, but I think what it does is it has edit in other applications there.
Okay,
And I think you have to click on that and it says there's no other editor selected.
okay.
So it's not going to use it. So I think what happens is it's not compatible with Lightroom. It won't let you go to that.
Okay.
There's a function in there that lets you add that external editor. It's under preferences or someplace over there. But like Steve says, the Olympus one may not work with Lightroom. I don't.
Okay.
You have to try it.
And Lightroom can take any raw file and because when I open up, if I shoot raw, when I open it up on my computer, obviously some of them don't show up because it's not reading the raw file, but Lightroom will read any raw file.
Depends. It depends on how new your camera is and what version of Lightroom you're using. If you have an old version of Lightroom and a new camera, it probably won't have that camera's data.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's since we're at this point, let's bring that up a little bit. There are different files that your camera can use. For instance, it can use JPEG file, it can use TIFF file, or it can use RAW. And all cameras are a little different which ones they use. Almost all of them have JPEG. JPEG compresses the image and will make the picture what it thinks it should be, and then it throws away the pixels that it didn't use. Okay, so you lose information when using JPEG. If you're using a TIFF file, it's a compression program, and it can be a large file, but it doesn't really lose information. So
What does it do?
It just stores the information. You can tell it how much to compress, or how little. But I always recommend doing things with all the information you can get. So I don't compress even JPEGs if I can help it. Like if I send pictures in to be printed, they tell you that they want them a JPEG on a resolution of 10, and I always send them as high as I can get. I'm not going to send them a 10 if I can get a better picture with the 12. So I just don't do any of that. So the other one is your camera has RAW files, and Nikon is different than Canon. Canon might be different than Olympus. And so they're all different. They're proprietary raw files for your camera. And that's why you might have trouble viewing the images to work on them. So that's what the DNG is about. DNG files are also a raw file. Whoop, let's go back. Back to library. If you push import, come on. Okay, at the top here you have copy as DNG. DNG is a raw file that Adobe came up with that all of their programs can read. And all the proprietary companies made it so that their raw files can be changed to DNG. Okay, you don't lose any information here. It is compressed a little bit, but it's a lossless compression.
It's a what?
Lossless. In other words, you don't lose any information when in this compression.
Okay.
Okay? And so therefore your files are a little smaller. That's a benefit.
Which means you
It's a
can
raw
fit
file,
more.
so all the information is there. That's right, you can fit more on your computer. Exactly, it takes up less file space or less storage space. I wrote a bunch of stuff about that down.
See, Terry, I did listen. I do remember some things.
So that's one of the most important parts, though, is it's smaller.
Yeah.
It takes up less space, and that it's still a raw file. So when you bring your raw files into Lightroom, you put copy as DNG. Okay, and then over here on the right, you tell it destinations, other destinations, or in pictures if you want them all in pictures on your computer, or other destinations. I can choose my external hard drive where I've got my pictures and choose where I want it. And there's a part where it says, oh, no, I don't see it. Terry, where's the subfolder part?
I'm not quite sure what you're getting at.
There was a place
It-
to click that told you.
Just underneath that, there's a real small line just underneath that thing at the top. Up,
Up here.
yeah, just below where you're at. Yeah, click there. No,
No, I didn't do it.
just underneath that title at the top, there's a small line.
Yeah, that's what I clicked on.
Click that. Oh,
Where it says-
now click other designation.
Oh, yeah, okay. But
And
you
then-
don't have to click subfolders.
Well, you create a folder down here at the bottom.
Okay. Because I was watching a video and he had a place over here where he clicked something about subfolders. Oh, I'll bet you it's maybe it's when he's looking for it or something.
Oh, I don't know.
Got to close the, there you go.
Think it's in destination. Down farther, destination for subfolders.
Oh, down here.
The places, there it is.
So where you click where it goes into a subfolder. So like if instead of going just directly into pictures, I can choose that subfolder where I'm actually doing it here with other destinations also.
Right.
Okay, so that's one of those things. There's two different ways to do it.
Why do we want to do that? Or why would I want to do that?
Well, if the Lightroom will name your pictures. If you look here at naming, well, or you click rename files, it'll name it according to the date. And if you wanted to go like, say I wanted to show you that too, but I probably won't have time today. I have images on my computer or my camera that I saved just for this. And when you put your card in, it automatically comes up to import them. And they're all fungus pictures. So if I just let the computer do it, the program do it, it's going to just put them in pictures under the date. Okay. So if I click on subfolders, then I can choose the subfolder I want. So instead of just going in pictures, I go down to fungi and I can click on that and tell it to put it in fungi. Okay.
Okay.
So that it just isn't in there a date for fungi. See, if you look over here on my folders over here on fungi, you see these all are dated. And that's how I've got them filed under fungi, except for the ones that I've added. And this is all ones that I did in Photoshop. Okay. I none of these are in Lightroom yet. Okay. So there's a whole file of this particular fungus or file with that fungus that I was out doing, and some of them have more than one kind in them. Let's go back. This one might even have, oh,
So you could bring all those in, and would it retain that level of granularity? Would it retain fungi June 12th, 2019? And take those names into Lightroom?
yeah, well, right here where you rename it,
Yeah.
you can have a date and a file name.
What if you didn't have rename click? How would it click? How would
It
it
just-
come in?
It just files it out and it'll just come into as just the date
So it would come in as to today's date,
of the date.
2021, September 11th.
I think it comes in as the date they were taken.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if I let a chip set for a month and then put it in there, it'll still come in for the date that the pictures were taken, not a month later.
Okay.
Okay,
But if you have rename, then it'll come in with the names that you put on it.
Right.
Am I understanding?
correct.
The date is still in the metadata. So you can go get it by the date if you want.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you can just put up there the type of fungi it is, like this here is oh, that was a difficult name. Let's do a different one.
Steve's fungi.
Yeah, let's do this one. This one is a parasol fungi. Okay, so you could put the name in as that. And then if you're consistent, every one of them that you do with that, then under parasol fungi, you can click on that in keywords and find that. And all your parasol fungi will come up. Okay?
Okay.
And I want to suggest while we're doing this, while you're getting this, can anybody see this book? Not very well, can you?
No,
No,
How about
there,
there?
there.
A little bit there.
whoops.
This book is called Teaching Yourself Visually. Let me get out of here. And it's Teaching Yourself Visually, Adobe Photoshop, and it says Lightroom 2. So it's not up to date with Lightroom 5, but it's going to get you everything to get you going and get you editing images. Not much has changed as far as importing and how you go about using your sliders and stuff when you're doing what they call develop. So let's tell you what, let's go back here to my test file. Down at the bottom here is under practice photos. That didn't work. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and import them. So at the top left-hand corner, you'll notice that there's a line that's keeping track of everything as, it's telling you how long before everything's done. Okay, so now it's done. It's imported all those images. Okay, so if I choose one, well, let's go down here first. I like to have them keep track as in file name. So to keep the order in file name. So if we choose one to develop, like so, then over here is where all your developing things are. And this is the basic stuff right here on the right. So if I think it's a little bit too hazy, I can increase the contrast. Okay, and then I can say, wow, that's pretty bright, so I can darken it down. And I can change the highlights if I think the highlights are too bright, or I can bring them back up. Okay, and these are on sliders, but you can just type in a number if you want, and it'll make the change according to that number. Okay, and if you want it to go darker, you just put a minus sign in front of it, and it'll go the other way.
Stephen, oh, this is Lightroom 5. Okay.
Yep, this is Lightroom 5.
Okay.
And so you can adjust the clarity. And that's almost like a contrast thing, but you don't want too much clarity. It can get overpowering.
Yeah.
I like to do each image individual. Presets to me would be a problem for me because I make a lot of different changes in my pictures while I'm doing them. So I like to edit each one separately.
I do.
But you can put presets in so you get a quick develop. And I know that's in here too. So it's right there. So if I got that highlighted, so I can put in presets for exposure and clarity and vibrance and tonal and white balance, and when you bring that picture in, it'll quick develop it.
Now, Stephen, I have a question. Are you using your photos off of your hard drive?
Yes, these 6 images here I loaded into a practice folder from my external hard drive.
Okay, because it's important to know that Lightroom does not store your photos. You have to either, and I'm not a tech person at all,
Go ahead.
but you have to either use a hard drive or off your camera, or and I always used a hard drive where I stored my photos, and you have to plug that in every time you want to use your Lightroom. Did I say that right?
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I leave one plugged in all the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then when it gets full, I plug in another one and move it all to the other hard drive. And I take them into my other room where I have my storage hard drives. So when I do that with Lightroom, you have to send the catalog with it. So
Yeah.
Lightroom will know where it is.
Yes.
Okay?
That's tricky. That's
Yeah.
a tricky part.
I haven't mastered that yet. I haven't gotten that far yet. So, but when like these are already in the computer on the hard drive,
Yeah.
and I import these. Now that I've imported them, Lightroom will always know where they are. Okay, they always know that they're on this practice folder.
Okay.
Okay, so it doesn't know where the originals are that where
Right.
we took these from.
Right.
Okay, it only knows they're in the practice folder. Okay, now if I download from the computer or a camera, that's when you have to tell it what folder you want it to put in. Okay, and you can put it in that subfolder or just put it in pictures if that's what you want. I like to organize my images according to whether they're a flower, a fungi, a landscape, a lighthouse, you know, whatever. And so I always have subfolders inside my pictures folder.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I did too.
And then what I used to do, and I quit doing it because it just got to be too much, was I would also have a subfolder called like flowers. I'd have domestic flowers and wildflowers. And then in each one of those, I had the name of the flowers. So if it was black-eyed Susans, I also had another subfolder that was black-eyed Susans, or another one that was wild sunflowers, or something like that. So, but that got to be too much. So I just went to flowers, and I just put them in according to the date now.
So that's where that metadata comes in handy. Instead of needing to create subfolders, if you put labels in on things, then you can get as detailed as you want. So if you want plants, fungi, what did you say, capped, mushrooms, whatever, you can put that in there, and that way you can do searches on what you want to, how you want to manage that. And what Steve is talking about in terms of the organization has absolutely nothing to do with Lightroom. It's how you think. I think differently than Jody does. So I have a very strict organization. The way that I do it, the way that I think, is I know things by date. So I always do it year, month, day. But that works for me. That's the way I think about it. You need to think about how you want to manage it for yourself.
And you need to be consistent about it.
Yes, exactly.
So when you
Collections is another good way
Right.
to do that.
I'm sorry, what, John?
Collections over here on the left. You can kind of do the same thing as your keywords.
down
If you
further,
create a collection called butterflies, then all you got to do is drag the photo into that collection. You don't have to put butterflies as a keyword. You can, collections become keywords
Yep.
if you want to think of it that way.
Is that not just another copy of your
No. A collection is nothing but a pointer that says files over there. Okay.
Okay.
But the reason you do it, you go to develop for a second. And collections is still here. Collections is here on the left. You look down at the bottom and you see those, you see the folder that's open, but you've lost all the other folders.
You haven't lost them. It's just
You haven't lost them, but you can't see them.
right. Yep.
Oh,
You can no longer see your photo drive, but you can see all the collections.
so if I make an edit though on any of my pictures, any of those pictures that are in collections,
Doesn't make a bit. It's just the same as.
yeah, it will automatically.
Doesn't do anything. You can
it'll-
make your edit
it'll
from
just
either
make-
collection or from directly or from Photoshop, any place you want to do it.
So one of the ways to think about it is if you look at a book, you've got your table of contents in front, and then you've got your index in the back of a book. So the index is kind of the library. So it gets very specific on this is the folder structure and that type of stuff. You can think of collections as more of a table of contents in the front of the book. So it's generalized, but it's all getting you to page 15 or whatever it is that you're looking for.
Okay. But once I put a picture in collections, and then I bring it up again and edit it, say I put it in collections and I went, oh, wait a minute, I wanted to change something. And I still have it on here. I make a change here, it's going to show up in the collections too.
Yes,
Correct.
So any changes you make shows up not only in your file, but in your collections.
correct.
Got that, Amy?
I think maybe.
So
Collections is, it's, you've got keywords and collections. And John, I've heard you talk about this 100 times and I'm still trying to process it. I don't know, I never quite figured out what's the difference. Why would I want to do tags or versus collections? You are pretty collections focused.
Yeah, I don't bother with keywords anymore. I just put them into collections. That way I can, when I get into develop module, I can see everything.
Without having to do
And
like
you
a
can have the
search.
same photo in as many collections as you want.
So you could have a collections with sunset, and you could have sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, yeah, and I could have also Lake Michigan, Lake Superior. Same photo could be in 2 or 3 places.
Okay.
And no matter which one you choose to edit, it's only editing that one photo. It's just a matter of finding it. That's all.
Yeah, it's just almost like a search function
Yeah.
in a way.
pretty
Exactly.
close.
And you don't have to do, I mean, again, with a computer, there's 12 different ways to do the same thing. And you just think about how you think in terms of, so you've got that old shoebox with all your old pictures in it. How did you keep track of what those were? It's kind of like that old shoebox. You put them in and you file them the way that you want to. I think everybody here is gray haired enough that they know what card catalogs are.
Mhm.
You know, it's like card catalog versus the shoebox.
Mhm.
Card catalog is a great way to think about it. 'Cause you got the card over here in a drawer, and it tells you to go find that book on shelf 7, row 6, shelf 7. Row 6, shelf 7, the physical book is your hard drive folder. The card that tells you to go look there is Lightroom
Mhm.
in the library module.
And to take that a little bit further, that's why if you, so your kids go over to your library and they move the books around, they take it from shelf 12 and put it on shelf 10. If you haven't updated your card catalog and you go and look for your picture, it's not going to be where you think it should be because the card catalog hasn't been updated. Is that helpful?
Yeah, so it's really important once you have the stuff on your hard drive that you leave it, that you don't fuss with it.
Yes.
Because once you move that picture, then Lightroom doesn't know, it's pointing at the space that it used to reside in, but it's not there anymore.
Exactly.
So
That,
then you have to try to figure out, how do I recoup that? Which
Yep.
we don't need to go into right now because I'm so far behind that issue that.
well, that's where I was saying you had to move the catalog, the information, the sidecar with it.
Yeah, and there's a way to do that, I suppose. If you,
Correct.
once you download that and then you've got a whole bunch of folders on your hard drive and you add the catalog and then you move that over to a different hard drive. That's what you're saying, right, Terry?
No, you have to move
Okay,
that.
well, when I need to do that, I'll be calling you on the phone.
If you put a keyword on, that's like a little tag on the book down the hall. If you put it in a collection, it's like making a note on the catalog card. Butterfly over here, look at row 7, whatever. And you can have a whole bunch of
Right.
lines on that card to tell you where to look or take you to that place.
But to Mary's point, I mean, Jody and I took a trip out to Maine and we were out there 3 weeks. And so I had a ton of photographs. I put them all on one hard drive and I created a catalog just for those images on that hard drive. So, I mean, you can create a lot of different catalogs, but it just depends on what you're going to do with them. Typically, all my images are on my computer in one other hard drive that's a remote hard drive. And I have just one catalog for all that stuff. If that extra remote hard drive is not connected to my computer, I cannot see those images on that hard drive, even though they are in my catalog. But I mean, like a lot of professional photographers that do weddings, where they might go out and shoot 2,000 images at a wedding, they will put all that stuff together on one hard drive just for that project. And they put a catalog on that hard drive, but it's totally separate from anything else. So, I mean, you just have to think about how you want to organize things and how you're going to use it. But typically, all you need is one catalog on your computer. But the thing I'd like to have, Steve, you do is on that page that you're looking at right there, type on the keyword for that sunset, type the keyword sunset. Okay, now go back up to on the where the images are, just above that, go to the thing that says metadata. Now, I can't.
Label?
Well, go up to the label. Click on.
I don't think he's saved it yet. Or
No. How do
No.
I see the?
You can change those categories at the very top, and there should be one that says, yeah, click on that. Well, add a column.
I did. Right here.
Oh, it says none. It's trying to get to where it says metadata, and it would show you the keywords. No. Yeah, click on the metadata one. On that column that you added,
Yeah.
click on that again, and where's metadata?
This again?
there should be a
Metadata is over.
tag.
There should be a metadata tag when you where it said none. No, where you were, yeah. Click on that and go down that list. No, click on the name none.
Oh,
There arrows.
I see it. Okay, and so you're looking for metadata
Yeah.
status or
No, keyword, excuse me, keyword.
right there.
Yeah.
There you go. And right now it says there's no keyword.
Huh.
So do I have to save this?
Oh,
He-
oh,
he's in
yeah,
the
hit
import.
enter where you said sunset. Because it's not recorded yet.
Isn't he in is he in the import? No.
Okay, on where it says all keywords, click where it said all keyword.
It says there's 6.
Yeah, click on that.
Right click or
Well, I think just click on it.
I'm clicking, nothing's happening.
Huh. It should show you what all the keywords are that are,
Maybe I need to let it catch up or something.
Is there a plus on the end there?
is there a plus on the end of where it says all keywords?
No,
No,
Or
down, just
drop-
below where you are.
no, it's a number 6.
Okay.
Yeah, well, click on the 6.
Nothing.
Huh. Um, I'm drawing a blank. Typically, it should show what the keywords are that you have recorded on those images. And if you click on that, then it should show just the images that have that keyword.
No,
John, do you know what I'm missing?
I'm wondering if this is because it's an older Lightroom version here.
oh, okay.
Also
Yeah,
on the right side where it says keyword list, not below keywording, no, all the way in the right-hand
oh,
column
over here.
where it says keyword list, next group down.
Says
You
set here.
you coming?
Oh, I see, over here.
Keyword list. Now I think if you click on sunset, it would come up. And you see that we'll go back to it.
Says-
There's an arrow to the right, all the way to the right. Bang.
Oh.
Except it's a butterfly.
Ah,
Details, always details.
always do
It's a
that.
sunset butterfly.
How did it get the term butterfly? How did it get term sunset?
Well,
You know, if you go all the way to the top of your screen, you can have view options and you can actually make zoom and make this bigger. I've got it on 100% now that I can see what he's doing.
Oh. You know, the reason I don't do that is because I like to get as much of the picture on there as I can.
Right, right. But then you can't read
Where's
it.
that? Right there?
Yeah, I mean, if trying to read these things is kind of hard. So I just stuck it up on, you can use fit to window 50%, or I've got it on so I can see what you're actually clicking on.
Okay.
But you lose part of the screen, yeah.
What it's doing for me is just zooming on the photo.
Right.
Oh.
I think Mary's talking about in Zoom itself, so you can zoom in.
Yeah, yeah. At the very top of your screen, right.
Oh, up. in-
You are viewing Steve's screen, and then it says to the right, if you
says
scroll,
more.
it says view options, and you can actually see things bigger, but
I see what you're saying. It's not necessarily going to show on mine.
No.
no, I think it's for the viewer to be able to increase so they can read what else the other things are on.
All right.
So going back to your concept, Terry, if you went through here and picked these 3 various sunset pictures and identified them all.
Well, the point is that it's a way to find images. If, excuse me, if you have keywords, then it's very easy to search for whatever keyword you have, like what the images that he showed before, like on that sailboat. If he added the word sailboat to the keywords, he could search for sailboat with I mean, you could have a whole file that had 100 images. And if
Right.
there was only one image that had a sailboat and you had that keyword, it would only show that sailboat. If you had 4 images that had flowers and you had keyword flowers on each of those, it would bring up those 4 images.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's just a quicker way to get to that place, right?
And again, talking about collections or keywords, it's 2 different ways. It's like 2 different types of card catalogs. It's the Dewey Decimal System versus what's the other one?
Library of Congress.
Yep, Library of Congress. So if you think about Library of Congress way of getting to a book versus Dewey Decimal, those are just different ways to organize the same thing. But if you try and mix Dewey Decimal and it starts getting complicated. So again, the thing about Lightroom is as long as you're being consistent, that's the key thing to make sure that. So I'm consistent on how I manage all of my pictures. I always do it exactly the same way. And that makes it easy for me. So I've got 2 daughters. I always put either Tessa or Nina in one of the keywords. So I can go into my catalog and say, give me all the pictures of Nina. And that, as long as I've got a keyword on that picture with her name, with her in it, then I can get every picture that I've got of Nina. And again, like John's comment, you could also do it with a collection. That's that difference between Library of Congress and Dewey Decimal.
They both get you to the same place, just a
Yep.
little different path.
Yep.
I like using the collections because when I import and I, load a whole card full and I've got 120 pictures in front of me and there's a whole variety of subjects, it's easier for me to get them import them, and then it comes up and it shows you the latest input, the latest import, and then drag them, choose all the tree pictures and drag them to the collection called tree. And to me, that's quicker than going through them as I'm importing and trying to put keywords on only the trees. Now I got to import all the trees, and I got to go back and import all the bugs and then all the birds. I import them all at one time, and then I can select and drag them to a collection the same way. To me, it's quicker.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. So you just take all of the trees and you put them in the tree collection, click, click, click,
Right.
drag them over to trees. Can you do click, click, click and name them trees and keywords?
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah,
could
yeah.
do that, but that's still a different set of clicks, I guess.
Yeah, typically I name the file with the date. So I've got my main file folder says 2021 January 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is.
And
And
if you-
then I import them that way, automatically put them into a date order, and then put them in a collection. But I only import to one time. I don't, whatever's on the card.
And if you look down at the bottom of your screen, there's a spray can kind of looking thing.
Yeah.
What that does is if you press spray can, and then, sorry, I'm having a hard time reading it. There's keyword. So yep. So now go over, there's a little gray box next to that, to the right. So type in flower or sunset, whatever. So now you've got the paint. So if you go up, so there's another sunset picture, the third one over. See the spray can? Press,
Yeah.
press the spray can. Now you've just assigned sunset to that picture. And actually, because your butterfly was picked as well, you just added sunset to your butterfly again.
Well, it's actually, I'm adding it to I added it to the sunset originally that we had.
Oh, yep.
And, okay, so now if I go to metadata, it
There you go.
says there's
Yeah.
4 sunsets. I don't know, how do I remove that from the butterfly?
Go.
Just click on the butterfly.
No, you need to get out of the paint.
Okay,
So click on the butterfly. Now you can see in the right-hand side, it says sunset in the keyword. So
Yep.
change that to butterfly.
okay,
Hit enter.
and change this one down here as well?
No,
No,
to see it so it disappeared from the sunset, and now in your upper right, you've got a butterfly.
Ah, all right. Fantastic.
and depending on where you are in your library, look, if you back up to well, even to go all the way back to picture, and then still use that same thing, it'll look at all of your images at one time.
Like this.
I mean, you're in a small folder,
Yes.
but if you go back to a higher up on the
Oh, yeah.
chain,
If I go back here. That's,
Now, it depends on how much is loaded in that you've got loaded into Lightroom.
yeah. And I don't have very much.
right?
So it'll only show what's in here, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But if you look at my computer, I have a pictures folder that has a year folder under that. And if I go to the pictures folder and I do that same search and I say, show me Nina, that's going to show me in all of my pictures, regardless of what year it is, all of Nina pictures. But if I want to get down in there and only look at 2002, then it's only going to show me the pictures in the 2002 and beyond folder.
Okay. All right, so I imported these images from my practice file.
Mhm.
When I go over here to the side, it says my practice file is now in my computer hard drive instead of my external hard drive.
No.
And that's where it is.
This is my external hard drive and it's not there. It's up here. Can I just drag that and drop it down in here?
Yes.
So I just click on that and bring it down.
You're physically moving the files now.
So I just say move.
Yep.
Okay. So now it's down here. No?
It is now.
It's still processing. Your
Oh, okay.
status bar up above.
Yep, I see that line up there. Okay, so what is it? Oh, what'd I do? Did I lose it altogether now?
No.
Put them on the Lacy drive, right?
Yeah,
It's that first one there. That's the 6 pictures.
okay.
So there's a arrow key. Do the drop down. I think there's a folder under that.
Yeah.
Ah,
There it is.
I got you. Okay, I gotta remember. And there's each image in the arrow key, if I do that arrow key.
Are those the
they're
dates
in
you
their own
took those
folders.
pictures? I mean, is
Yeah,
that what that means?
yes. These were taken,
Those are folders.
yeah, these were taken, no,
Yeah, that's a folder
that's,
with one picture in it.
okay. But that's the
You took
date,
on 7/24, probably.
correct. Which is July 20, and that one's July 25th. Okay. So it made folders for each one of those.
Yes.
And that's based on, that's because you selected subfolder, create subfolder.
Oh, over here on the right,
When you did your
When you-
import, you
when you
said
did the import.
create subfolder.
I did.
So, and you told it, put a date on the subfolder. So then under that is going to be the image itself.
So I have to remember not to do that for importing images off of my hard drive into Lightroom.
If you want to keep them the way that they are, yes, you are correct. You do not want to. It again depends on how you want to manage it. If you want Lightroom to put it into a different folder, you can say put it in a different folder or a subfolder. Or if you'd rather just keep it the way that it is, you can say just add, and then that's putting the index card in the card catalog.
Okay. And if I import them from my camera, I want the subfolder and I just click fungi and it'll put a subfolder under fungi.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Steve,
Everybody-
literally, you can go to your Lacey top pictures file, whatever it is.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you can say import at that point, wherever. And choose whatever the top folder is and hit add, and it'll recreate all of that right there. It might take an hour. It might take 2 hours. If you got 100,000 pictures out there, you know.
So don't go too fast here, Steve, but click
I
on
don't wanna do that.
import.
I don't want to do that.
No, I just want to show you something. So if you click on the import button down at the bottom, so it's going to pull up the import screen.
Yeah.
So this is if in your LaCie drive, if you click on my pictures, just do, no, go back to the LaCie, just highlight the my pictures
Down,
or wherever it, yep.
Hang on.
you're on your hard drive.
Oh, you were talking about Lacey. Okay.
Yep, sorry.
I thought you meant C drive.
Sorry. So at the my pictures level, maybe not.
It'll show all the pictures.
It's showing you everything there, and they're all checked.
And they're all checked. So now don't do this.
Well, yeah, don't, careful.
But if you now click on the import button, don't do it.
Yeah, if you click over here,
Yeah. So if you click there, it will put all of your pictures from my pictures into the Lightroom catalog.
gotcha.
But it'll rename. If you hit add at this point, it'll just put them right where they are. It'll.
Correct. And these are all PSD files. I don't want them changed to DNG, so,
Right.
okay. Oh, and I've got the, I was wondering where that subfolder file was. I was gonna unclick that.
It's not there because you got add. And add, it's just going to take what you got. If you want to move something or copy it or whatever, then it gives you that other.
So I was just looking to remove that. Click on the subfolders. There it is. Right there. All right,
Where did you see that?
that was down here under destination.
Okay,
If I click that, I have the subfolders it'll make. And if I unclick it, now it won't make the subfolders. It'll just import all the images.
So I don't know if it'd be helpful, but if you think about, so one library buys another library or combines two libraries together. You've got two different card catalogs. And if you're importing, so if you're bringing all the books from one library to another library, what you want to do is you want to intersperse all your pictures with the Dewey Decimal System. So you need to think about how you're importing it. Do you want to just add a pointer? So are you keeping two physical libraries, physical buildings? If so, you want to say, okay, I want to go over here and I want to go over there. But if you're adding, which is the copy function, you're actually picking up a copy of the book from the other library and putting it in one building. Does that
okay.
make any sense?
Yeah, no, I get that. What the confused look is, what do I want to do?
Right.
How do I
exactly.
start?
Yeah.
How do I think about this?
And that's the hard part, is thinking about. One of the things that I recommend is just like the way Steve's doing it. Take 5 or 10 pictures or 20 or 100 pictures and figure out what's the best way. How do you want to think about getting to your pictures? That's the hard part. The easy part is getting the technology to do what you want it to do. But knowing what you want it to do is the hard part.
Yes. Isn't that the truth?
Yep.
All right. How we doing for time? We got about 5 minutes here. So John Russell was interested in the import process. So I really didn't show anything about importing from a disk yet. Shall I do that real quick? Because I purposely took pictures just for that. Just so happens, I have my camera right here with me.
Imagine that.
Go figure. So if I put a disk in, it should bring up an import picture, shouldn't it?
It depends on how your computer is set up, but yes.
Okay, I can hear it working, but I don't see it yet.
Click on import, I think.
Quick copy import.
Import, left, lower left corner. Yep, down a little more. Import. Nope,
Oh, you want me to click on import?
click on import, yeah.
Okay.
Because
Then you
we've
should
been
see there's your EOS card.
Okay.
because we've been doing so much stuff right now, Lightroom's probably having a hard time. It depends on your computer setup on whether it's automatic or whether you have to do that manually.
Okay. So I do want to copy as a DNG. And I want to click other destinations. And then Lightroom, my picture, or Lacey, and fungi. Now, do I just need to click fungi, or do I need to just double click and open it like that?
So if you look down at the bottom, it says put in folder fungi, right? So
Down
if you go, yep, right there. That's where it's planning to put what you've told it.
Okay, so
Now, stop. Before you do that, that's where the subfolder check mark makes a difference. If you're telling it to import it into fungi without telling it subfolder, it's going to put all your pictures in subfolder or in the
Okay.
fungi folder.
gotcha. So the into subfolder is already clicked.
Okay.
So if I say
So do you-
select folder,
I'm asking the question, do you want it in subfolders? Or do you want it just in the fungi?
I want all of them in one subfolder by the date.
Hmm.
They're all
Over-
taken on
over
the
on
same
right.
date.
The date format is what you,
Yeah, I've
Mm,
got it by
okay.
date organized. And I've got date format,
Okay.
that's gonna put it in by the day.
correct. And they were all
Okay.
done on the same day, so they should all go into the same subfolder, correct?
Yep.
So if I select folder,
Yep.
and do I click include subfolders?
No, I think your problem is on the left side. Well, it should have, you're not selected any photos.
I
yet.
haven't clicked, I haven't told it to import yet.
No, well, you haven't got any pictures in there yet. You should be seeing thumbnails.
He's probably-
Yeah.
think-
I don't think you're connected. So you got to go to the left side. We don't have a folder selected to import yet.
There it is.
There it is.
Click that one?
Yep.
Okay,
Why?
Says there's nothing there.
that's not true. That's not true.
Go up to the top one where it says G device. Oh, what, a little more, yeah, right there. Doesn't seem to be anything on that card.
Oh, don't tell me I put it on the wrong card. All right, let me, now I can just say cancel on this, correct?
Yep.
And then put in the other card. I'm gonna eject this one.
Good Blaine.
Hasn't made the noise yet. Okay, what I do wrong here, I can get rid of it.
Now go back to import down at the bottom. You're still in the libraries on the left side. Right there.
I gotta click that to get rid of it?
No,
No, just
There you go.
Okay, now how do I tell it to eject it?
no. Didn't you put a new card in?
No, I want to eject the old one first.
Oh,
just
That's
pull it out.
that's at the Windows level. So I'm only seeing your Lightroom. There
Oh,
should be on the bottom right. There should be a little greenish little icon thing.
yeah, and I clicked on that and I don't know, it's not telling me to eject it, so hang on a
Pull it
second.
out.
Oh, you lose a lot of info that way.
no.
No,
You
it
can
just
lose.
yells at you.
Uh-oh. Now I did it. I lost the. There we go. All right. I don't like to just pull them out. I've lost discs that way.
Yeah, you can.
That's a 64 megabyte disc. I hate to lose it.
There's ways to get it back though.
All right, so if I say import now. Okay, EOS. And there's the pictures.
Yep.
So it's just got to load them.
There they are. Now it's ready.
That looks better.
All righty. So now I tell it to import that, or do I want, because I got subfolders,
Yep.
date.
Yep. You want keywords?
Do I need to tell it?
You don't need to tell keywords right now, but right now is a good time to do keywords if you want to.
Okay, I just want to put fungi on.
Sure.
Now, I want it to go into my Lacy drive. So I click on that, right?
No.
Go up to the top.
Go up to the top.
I think it's already, isn't it where it says two? Where's it pointing?
Destination down.
It says Lacy
bottom.
Drive, but it doesn't say fungi or.
Yeah.
There you go.
Where is it? There it is.
So again, because it's saying folder, that's telling you what folder it's going to go into.
And that's where I want it.
Okay. Let her rip.
Okay. So now I'll say import.
And now you'll see in the upper left-hand corner that status bar of the pictures that are being imported. And it should say something like one of whatever.
Yeah, it does. It just says convert to digital. It's not giving me a one of.
Oh,
You gotta give it a little time.
Yep.
Takes a minute or two.
But I wanted to make sure I got this on here because I know John Russell was really saying he's having trouble with imports.
I had lots of trouble with imports because I did it wrong the first time. Terry's laughing. And I'm not doing it again unless I come to you. And I haven't wanted to bother you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
I didn't realize I took so many pictures.
Oh my God, yes.
Like I could have unchecked. I think this one is a little blurry.
You can do that later.
Yeah, but I mean, it would have saved time on import.
Well,
We're not even halfway yet.
Should have had Amy do it. She's got that fancy new computer.
That's by a lot faster, huh?
no, don't have me do it. Not yet. Oh, one question I had. So if you use the Lightroom monthly
Yep.
and say I put a bunch in there and I do a bunch of work and then I don't want to use it for the next month.
Yep.
And so I go, I cancel or whatever you have
Yep.
to do.
Yep.
And then say 2 months or 3 months later down the road, or even say a year down the road, let's just say that.
Yep.
And if I want to sign back up for that, do I lose all that information that I already did?
No, the only thing that happens when you do it that way is you lose the ability to edit.
Oh,
So no, so when you're paying the subscription service,
yeah,
you can edit your photos.
yeah.
You still have the application and can navigate to the folders even when you're not paying the subscription service. You turn the subscription service back on and then you can start editing again. You haven't lost anything.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Okay. That's fair. That makes sense.
Yep. So
Okay.
they still allow you, you don't lose any of your changes. You don't lose, it's just you can't make modifications to the data that's in Lightroom.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, and then if you, even if you send it to the cloud, you can also store it on a hard drive.
Yep.
And then you can have the ability to re-edit.
Yeah.
Two kinds of Lightroom. There's the Lightroom, and Lightroom CC.
Yeah.
Correct.
Lightroom CC, you do everything locally.
No,
Lightroom,
Lightroom CC is the remote one. That's cloud. Lightroom Classic.
it's the other way around. One's local and one puts your stuff out in the cloud.
Classic,
Oh,
the classic version of Lightroom is on your computer.
Classic is the one.
Lightroom CC is the cloud.
okay.
So you don't have to use the cloud if you don't want to.
No,
I wouldn't use the cloud one. It doesn't have as much. It's safe for a bunch of pictures, but it doesn't really do as much as a classic.
So if you think about Creative Cloud, that's a more editing for dummies. I
Yeah.
mean, it's got a much, it's got a very different user interface.
Oh,
And some people find it easier to use that versus the classic.
okay.
Can you move back and forth? I mean, so you take a 30-day trial on the cloud and then you take a 30-day trial on the classic. Can you merge those
The
libraries?
$10 a month gets you both. It gets you classic, cloud, and Photoshop. It's all three.
But not for the trial version. As she's wondering about the trial version, can you try both of them?
Yes, I think the trial has so it's the same thing as if you bought it, but you've only got, I don't remember if it's 7 days or a month or whatever, just
Yeah.
check what the time period is. So you can do it in whatever time period.
the other thing to keep in mind is even when you're using the classic version, which is on your own hard drive, your own computer, when you save an image or export it, you can export it to the cloud from Classic,
Oh,
so you're saving your image online if you want,
oh.
Oh,
or to your own hard disk.
Classic is the way to go.
mhm.
If that's what you want.
I think.
So there, all these images are now imported to Lightroom. And so I put them in a file, in my regular file that I normally keep track of everything. And so if I go to my file fungi, where I usually use Bridge, but you can use your regular computer file hunting and go to Lacey down here.
We're just seeing Lightroom still, Steve.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I guess I'd have to reshare it. Sorry. But if you can use your regular file search explorer and go to your files and still see that this is still on your hard drive where you normally would file your files. By the
Yep.
way, we did it over here.
But again, you need to be careful when you think, if you think about the card catalog thing again,
Yeah.
if you're going in through your browser and manipulating there, you're losing the pointer from the card catalog. So if
Correct. I was just saying that you
Yep.
just, you can go there and look to see that they're there.
Yep.
So anytime you work on them, you want to bring it up in Lightroom, and it will keep track in the catalog what you did to it, where it is, and all the metadata that you want. So that's the first image metadata.
Those look like French fries.
They do, don't they? I haven't looked it up yet to see what it's called. Let's, I cheat. You can't, can you see?
Oh.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have this app on my phone, and I use the app a lot of times just on the computer because I can't keep track of them. If there's 5 or 6 different ones, then I'd have to write it down out in the woods. Well, come on. There.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
It says it's a type of antler and spindle fungus. Clavolinopus.
Whoa. Are you on
And
Seek?
that's, yes,
Okay.
yep,
That works with bugs too.
it does. You know, it works with flowers, it works with bugs.
Trees.
What was it called?
Seek.
Seek?
Yes.
S-
SEEK. It's a good app.
And but iNaturalist, and it's free.
Yeah.
Amy approved.
Okay, so then you just click develop to start working on them, right?
Steve, what I usually do is even when you're still in library, excuse me, I take and will go through all those images and look at ones if there are some that, you know, are really blurry or, you know, not the kind of thing you really want. I just hit X to reject the file and go through all of them. And as I'm going through, if I see ones that are really good, I might put a 1 or a 2 or 3 stars or something on it to show how good I think it is. And after you've done that to all of them, then you can go up to the top and under, I think it's photo down at the bottom, there's a delete rejected files. So it'll throw those ones out, take them out of the catalog as well. And that way you can kind of narrow down what you've got, and you can, from the star rating you have, you can go back then and decide which ones you really want to work on more, what you want to do to them.
Okay. And you go through them by using this down at the bottom by clicking on each image,
Sure.
correct?
You can just do that real quick, you know, just,
So you mentioned that there was one that you wouldn't have imported.
That one right there.
Click the X key.
Where's that?
On your
Just
keyboard?
Keyboard X.
Oh,
One
I
that
lost it. Wait a minute. Well, let's do that the other way.
the picture.
There we go.
yeah.
So hit X.
Now click X.
Yep.
You see it said set as reject,
yes.
and there's a
That's for
little,
reject, yep.
it set a flag for reject.
So now if you go up to photos
And your menu
on your menu,
at the top. Down at the
And
bottom.
then go down.
I think it's down at the bottom.
All your last
There's
one.
remove photo or remove photo from catalog.
Down, next one.
one
Delete
more.
rejected.
Yep.
Okay. It says there are no rejected photos to delete.
That's because it already did.
No,
Oh.
it's right there.
Maybe not.
So do I have to, let's see.
X on the keyboard.
X. Set as reject. It didn't put a flag up here.
Didn't put a flag up.
There it is.
There it is.
Not,
It's the wrong,
not,
wrong flag.
Yeah.
oh,
It'd be a little black.
It's got a little red
flag.
dot there.
That's for collections.
Should I maybe do Control X?
no,
No?
Oh, this is version 5. No, it still should be X.
yeah.
Morning, Alan. Oh, wonderful.
What do I have to tell it to do something then?
Um,
I don't know.
go back to photo.
I usually swear.
That's a photo?
See the floor.
Yep. There should be a reject.
No.
Set flag.
Hang on
That's
just one
flag.
second. Hang on just 1 second.
Up
Where it says set flag,
kind of in the middle.
Right there.
yeah.
Okay.
Guys, I gotta leave right now. So good seeing y'all, and we'll see you next month.
Please come back. Please come back.
Okay. So
Okay, there we go.
is it still going to show up maybe?
No,
It shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
It didn't flag it. So
I'm not sure why it's not flagging it.
is it because I'm in library?
No.
No,
It says that it's rejected.
I know. See, it gets confusing. I get confused.
And it's telling it that it's rejected, but it should have a little black X on the image. Go out of this view. Go into design or develop mode, and then go back to library. Huh. I don't know what's going on there.
What happens if I do it?
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that gets, you know.
You would not believe how many times I want to throw the computer out the window when I'm working.
Yes, I would.
When I was watching the video, the gentleman was talking about where it says remove photo. He said was the wimpy way. All it does is just remove the picture.
That removes it from your catalog, but leaves it on your hard drive.
Oh.
So then Lightroom doesn't know that it's there, but if it's a bad photo, I don't see any reason to keep it. So
Right.
I just tell it delete.
Yeah.
If I right click on it, set flag, says rejected. That's just rejected.
Good.
So I'm just going to go ahead and remove it from the photo from the catalog.
Yep.
Alt backspace.
Do delete. Yeah, you can do it that way too.
You said delete rejected photos.
We
Yeah,
tried
but
that.
it's
they're
not.
down.
It's not. The flag's not set, so you can just do the delete. Sorry.
All right, so let's,
There you go.
now it's gone.
More than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah. So, okay. So go back to where we can see them all, and it's gone.
That is a nice, I mean, the thing about the reject, and I'm confused why reject isn't working. The thing that's nice about the reject is you can go through and all it's doing is flagging it. So it's not actually deleting until you say remove deleted. And I can't quite tell you why that's not working, but the next time you restart Lightroom, it'd probably start working.
Yeah.
Okay,
All else fails, reboot.
that one put a little flag right there.
Yeah, so you see how it's
And it's flagged right
that
there.
little black thing?
Yeah,
That says that it's rejected.
so now I can go up here and say.
Delete rejected.
Delete rejected,
There you go.
Yeah, that's the way it should work.
and I say remove from disk.
Yep, if that's what you want to do.
That's what I wanted. So, okay. So that's what I want. I wanted to be able to demonstrate that you don't have to keep them all on there. And you can just go through them to make sure they're all good. And like here, if I was, those are all pretty good. They're all the same though. Okay. So they're all imported. And what I could have done is I could have gone through them like this before importing and said, okay, there's only the first, what is there, 5, 6 there? I could have said, well, those are all the same. I'll just keep 2 of them. And so then when I imported, it would just import just those 2 if I'd have unchecked the other 4, correct?
Yep.
So I just wanted, I wanted that to come out as a statement so anybody that viewed the video later would know what should have been done. Okay?
Yep.
So shall we call it a day?
Well, it's
11:22.
11:22, so
Okay, I'm gonna close out Lightroom here.
Okay.
Now I don't want to back up anything yet. So I'm just gonna say skip this time. Okay,
when you back up, do you identify where you want to back it up? Say you wanted to back it up on a separate hard drive or does it back it up in a folder or what does the backup do?
I think it backs it up on the hard drive you're on.
Okay,
You
and then
have
is that,
control over where you can put that backup. It's under the preferences. Under preferences, there's like a backup section somewhere in there. And you say where you want the backup to be. You're not backing up your photos. What you're doing is you're backing up the catalog.
catalog?
So
Okay.
it's like taking your card catalog that's in the library and making a exact duplicate and putting it someplace else.
Okay,
When you go into preferences, you can,
to periodically go in and
Can you hear you?
you're breaking up.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah,
Here, how about now?
Better.
good.
Okay, Gary told me yesterday, you need to periodically go in, delete some of those backups, and so that you keep just your latest one. And that way, what's that, Terry?
yeah, you want to be careful about that. The first thing to do is to go into preferences and tell it how often you want to back up the catalog. You can tell it back up every time, once a week, once a month. You can tell it just, I don't know how many different options there are, but I usually back up like once a week or something like that. And then every time it backs up, it creates a backup of the current catalog in your Lightroom folder, the Lightroom program folder under backups is a subfolder. And if you, after a while, it keeps accumulating those. And like, I've got tons and tons of images in my catalog. So that damn catalog file gets pretty big. So after a while, I go back into that the backup folder and delete most of the backups, but I usually try and keep at least 3 of them so that I've got, some redundant backup. So if I ever have a problem, because it is possible to corrupt that catalog file. And if you do that, that's when you want to go back to your backup folder, and you can use that backup folder as the new catalog to replace the one you have. But I mean,
backing up your computer.
yeah, so I mean, the problem is if you say only back up once a month and you have a problem and you have to go back to the last backup, whatever you did in that month, you're going to lose. So that's why it's, backing up every day gets to be a bit much.
You don't lose all the film, the images, you lose just
The catalog.
history.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you all very much. This has been very educational, very helpful. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
okay. So I've got this backed up. I've got this on my computer someplace. And I will I'll talk to you, Steve, about how we get this out of there.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that from Rags, and if not, we'll just have Rags send it to you.
Okay, yeah, well, good luck on that, but I'll see what I can do, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
I.
It was good.